to High School Sports Unlimited. We talk all things high school sports here all around North Georgia. My name is Judd Hickenbotham. I just host the show and kind of guide it along the way. Morgan Lee's the guy that really adds everything to this program. He is the editor of AccessNorthGA.com. I'm sure you've been to the site many, many times. The high school sports section particularly is just popping right now with all kinds of stuff. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. If they haven't been to the site, I kind of wonder how they're watching us.
It's a great point. It's a great point. I never really actually thought about that, but that's fine. All right, welcome to the show. If you have never been a part of the show before, here's how it works. We do the video portion of this show, and you can watch us every Wednesday afternoon on AccessNorthGA.com on WDUN TV, and then we're going to rebroadcast this Thursday evening and Friday afternoon on 1240 ESPN Radio, 6 p.m. on Thursday, and then 3 p.m. on Friday to get you ready for your high school sports, high school football Friday nights as of right now. So thank you for being with us. Got a lot to do today, including our player of the week who had an outstanding game up in Lumpkin County. We'll be talking with him a little bit later on. Of course, we'll be talking about the games coming up this Friday, week 3 officially of the high school football season. But let's start with some games from this past week because this is where, if you read one of Morgan's many articles you wrote over this past Friday, after a couple of games, you kind of get an idea of where the team is, and just looking at some things that maybe the team has done the first couple of weeks, and you have to go no further than East Hall. The East Hall Vikings are now 2-0. First time they have been 2-0 to start the year since 1999. We had our cameras at this game as they beat Johnson 41-17, Morgan. I mean, just an impressive all-around effort once again for East Hall.
It was, and I think more impressive was that they rode kind of a really, I don't want to say, rough start, but certainly kind of a stop-and-go start. It took them a while to get any sort of rhythm offensively. They fell down 3-0, fought back to go up 7-3, then went back down 10-7, and then once they got the lead there before halftime, they really kind of steamrolled in the second half, really found their rhythm, started clicking, and really impressive second half performance from both the offense and the defense. Jamon
Witt does it again. He has 4 touchdowns in the game, and he does it a little bit of every way, doesn't he? He does special teams, defense, and offense too.
Yeah, I mean, one of the truly gifted players in Northeast Georgia, just incredibly fast, really shifty. When he got that kickoff return going there in the second quarter, I mean, he had just a little bit of a crease and made one guy miss, and he was gone. The interception return for the touchdown came really late. I mean, it didn't really matter at that point, but he had nothing but green space in front of him. So, I don't think he expected a kid to do anything else but run it into the end zone at that point. So, he's just a super talented. I'll tell you, the kid that really impressed me was someone who came in and gave him a lot of great yardage was Austin Mahaffey. Came in and really just started, wasn't breaking the long runs, but I mean, every time he got the ball there in the second half, it seemed like he was going for 5 to 10 yards every time, and it was just a big, powerful run for Mahaffey every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, he's a good compliment, definitely, to Jamon Witt, who really supplies the speed. Mahaffey seems to do everything else. Got to see him against West Hall in the first game of the season. Another very good running back, another very good player for East Hall. As for their head man, Brian Gray, had to be pretty happy with what he was able to do and what his team was able to do. Morgan Lee caught up with Brian Gray after the game.
Coach, I know, as you were saying, it took you a little bit to get going, but once you started to get going, it all kind of came into place for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. We had, we got some nice breaks. They made a couple mistakes. We were penalized. Too many penalties tonight on our half. We just had to get our mind right. Our linemen had to get some going, and once we got lineman motors going, and then we started to play the way we should.
So I was going to say, what was the biggest difference in just the holes being open in the second half there?
Pure mental.
Yeah.
We have to understand that we have to play 4 quarters, and that's something a team that's not very experienced in winning has to learn and learn quickly. You have to come out from the start and go full bore all the way through the game, or teams are just going to stick. And a good, extremely well coached team like Johnson, they're going to be in it. And and we're lucky to get out here the way we did.
Considering the start, how big was that 15-yard penalty to give you that first down that set up the first touchdown?
It made a difference, but I felt at that time we were going to get humming anyway. I really felt that we started to get our linemen clicking. I felt that if we had to punt it, that's fine. They were killing us on their power run. They got 2 really, really good backs and a good line, and I felt though that we were going to gel. And I told the kids at halftime, I said, listen, it's us. It's our mental state. We have to believe that we can come in every play and be dominant. And you go against a good team like Johnson, you have to do it, or they're going to hit you right in the mouth. What they did.
And then finally, I know after last week, you talked about kind of keeping everything in perspective. You won another impressive county game. I mean, what's going to be the talk this week? Continue to keep things in perspective.
We're going to have to. We're probably playing in my opinion, the best team in North Georgia next to Buford. I think you could put any 5A, 4A school you want. Elbert County's better. Elbert County is a phenomenal team, and we're going to have to really come up and be ready to play. Take the best back in the state probably, and another great challenge for us. And we're going to go and play our best, see what happens.
Who looks like he actually played 4 quarters in that game. He was sweating enough. Now, he's one of those coaches that on the sideline really kind of jumps up and down, and saw him jumping on his players in week 1. He was so pumped up for those guys. He had nice things to say about Elbert County, who we'll talk about. It's a pretty big test for East Hall. But I agree with what he says. It seems like the team is really kind of starting to believe in itself a little bit more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime that you find yourself down in a game and can come back and really come back, with a vengeance like they did there in that second half, it says something especially for a program that's kind of struggled to find itself over the past few years. It seems like they're really starting to believe in themselves. And just talking to another one of their players after the game, offensive lineman C.J. White, he just continued. He seemed I don't want to say he wasn't cocky by any stretch of the imagination, but just very assured and very confident.
Yeah, absolutely. A.J. Millwood, by the way, in the losing cause for Johnson, a very good game, 18 carries, 142 yards. Johnson has some to build on. They actually, as Morgan said, they led back and forth kind of game in the first half. And so something to build on for next week when they take on Chestatee. And let's move on to the War Eagles. Chestatee beats West Hall. 41-14 is the final. And this one, we had our cameras rolling for the game. A good start for the Chestatee War Eagles. And they got down early and made a little bit of a comeback in this one. First season opening win since 2007. That's I didn't realize it had been that long since Chestatee started 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Great way to start off. I think, talking to Coach Luttrell today, and he was talking about how nice it was to see his team kind of overcome some early adversity, especially first game of the season, because, if you're going to be rust, that's when you expect it. So nice to see his team kind of bounce back from a little bit of a slow start there, and really kind of poured it on in the second half. Just a lot of talent in the backfield, and it shone through.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You see what the quarterback Jordan DeGraff was able to do. He got 2 touchdowns in the game, but yeah, they do have speed back there, don't they? We talked about Quan Clark, but he's just one of several guys that had pretty good games.
Yeah, Brandon Thompson, who's a kid that moved into the Chestatee area. I think he was at Milton previously. Is going to be somebody to watch, somebody with a lot of speed, a real track guy. Montry Tate, another guy that's got some serious ability. And DeGraff can run the ball, a good athlete. So that's 4 guys right there that can carry the load to an extent. And in that offense, you got to have different guys who can bring different things to the run game, because everybody knows you're going to run the ball. It's what you can, how you can mix things up and give your guys a rest and have everybody fresh. And if they can do that, I think they're going to be a pretty good offense this year.
Yeah, I think that they just might be pretty good. Like you said, they got plenty of guys in the backfield. Meanwhile, a pretty good guy in the backfield for West Hall getting the losing cause. Rico Jones is not a bad running back at all. An early 57-yard touchdown run for him, but a disappointing 0-2 start for West Hall for the 2011 season. All right, we'll take a break. We come back and a lot more games to talk about. Habersham Central, they blow a pretty big lead over in Athens. Lumpkin County has a very special performance from a very special athlete. We'll continue after this break. High School Sports Unlimited. We'll be right back.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Ron Wilson. At Wilson Orthodontics, we've helped thousands of people just like you get that perfect, healthy smile they've always dreamed of. And we do that by using state-of-the-art orthodontic technology. Children and adults love our exciting Georgia Bulldogs game room.
Come in and experience the atmosphere.
Our team is the best around, and they treat all our patients like they're part of the family.
They were so nice to me.
Call us today to schedule your free consultation, and I look forward to seeing you here soon.
All right, rolling on here. High School Sports Unlimited. We'll let you know where we're going to be this week. Couple of radio games. The baseball season's over for the Gwinnett Braves, but the Atlanta Braves continue on. So, of the three Jacobs Media family of stations, we have a couple of high school football games. All right, let's get back to the action. Judd and Morgan with you. We'll be here every week, by the way. All right, Habersham Central. We'll get through this one fast because I know the Hab Central fans don't want to hear much about this. But, boy, they had a 34-7 lead at halftime, Morgan, and then back comes Cedar Shoals all the way back to a 41-34 win. That's a tough one to take for the Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely, especially after opening with a really nice, close, hard-fought win over Appalachia the week before. Then you come back and you look like you're set up to go 2-0, and things just really kind of fell apart there late in the game. You know, Cedar Shoals, a lot of speed, and that speed really got to them in the second half. Obviously, it's gut wrenching. It really is. I mean, especially in a situation where every game is a region game. You know, if this had been a non-region game, you kind of go, okay, we learned from it, move on. At this point, I mean, you still learn from it, move on, but it hurts a little bit more.
Yeah, it really does. And you mentioned because they had such a good win in their first week, and then to lose that one. But again, quarterback Kevin Ellison just putting up just ridiculous kind of numbers: 15 carries, 208 yards, 5 total touchdowns. 4 of them being on the ground, but Hab Central goes down to Cedar Shoals. Lumpkin County gets a big win against Union County. 28-13 was the final in that one, and it was all about one guy, wasn't it? Ian McIntosh. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Ian McIntosh has had an incredible game. 240 yards rushing on 9 carries and 3 touchdowns, and it was kind of one of those games where every time he touched the ball, he was going the distance. He had three scoring runs of 60-plus yards.
Wow.
In 3 different ways. He had an end around, he had a wildcat direct snap, and a handoff straight up the middle. And all of them were important because it was a pretty close game with Union County. It ended up being 28-13, so all 3 of those touchdowns made a difference.
Yeah, Lumpkin County 2-0, trying to build on last year's 6-4. Pretty good season. They might be to something a little more special this year. Ian McIntosh, remember that name. We mention him later on in the show. Buford just beats down Carver Columbus. The number 2 team in the state's not supposed to be down 35-0 and lose 35-7, but when you're playing Buford, I guess that's what happens.
Yeah, it's something that I think everybody should kind of expect. I mean, I was reading off scores in the Johnson press box on Friday night, and people kept hearing that and being like, wow. And I was just like, frankly, I'm not shocked at all.
I wasn't shocked in the least either.
No.
And I know Carver had stuff coming back. I mean, even though they lost Crowell and a couple of talented guys, you know that they're going to have good kids over there. But, hey, what are you going to do?
Buford right now, I mean, unless Buford does something to shoot itself in the foot, that's the kind of game that they're going to play. They're going to stuff you on defense, and they're going to march down the field fairly methodically and just wear your defense out.
Carver had 85 rushing yards in the entire game. If you've seen Carver Columbus play before, they like to do it a bunch of different ways, but they usually have kids that can really get down the field fast. You hold them to 85 rushing yards. You've really done something. Buford led by that defense. Another team that's really started off strong, Flowery Branch. They blow out Winder Barrow 64-7. So Flowery Branch is 2-0, 500 yards of total offense, and it's the new quarterback once again. Candler Coker had a pretty good field day. Throwing to one of his familiar guys, is C.J. Curry.
Yeah, C.J. Curry ended up with 5 catches for 104 yards and a couple touchdowns. He didn't have a huge game last week, so it's no surprise that he has a big game this week. He's got the kind of talent that he's not going to have a bad, or not that last week was a bad game, but
right.
He's not going to have a mediocre game every week. And the funny thing was, talking to Coach Shaw after this game, I mean, they scored 64 points, had 500 plus yards of offense. He was really, I think, kind of the overwhelming feeling after that game was just frustration because. Yeah. He felt like they could have done a lot better. I mean, they had, I think,
15 penalties?
Yeah, 14 or 15 penalties. I think he said there were 19, more than that. He said it was a case of where every penalty that could be called was called.
Yeah.
Which, I think as long as it goes both ways for each team, you kind of, put your hands up and say fair enough. But I think they were a little frustrated and felt like they could have run the offense a little bit more efficiently than they did. But, When you can say that after winning 64-7, I think it's a good thing.
Well, but I understand what he's saying, because you're facing a Winder Barrow team that, just kind of going off the way they did last year, they're a little overmatched. I think Madison County last week maybe a little overmatched, but Flowery Branch, when they're going to face these tougher teams, when the season really gets into the middle part, the meat of their region schedule, 15 penalties is just not going to get it done. By the way, Jeremy Haley, 134 rushing yards on just 10 carries in 3 touchdowns in that blowout win for Flowery Branch. All right, let's go to our next game. We will head over to Jefferson, where Jefferson holds on against North Hall and gets the win 38-28. We got some video coverage of this one as well. I got to tell you, 2 of the very impressive players in this entire league, in this entire area, Amani Cross, who we'll talk about in a minute. Quarterback Ryan Sheriffs is really, really good for Jefferson. He's just a junior.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have said a couple times already on this show, that everybody in Jefferson knew that he was a talent last year as a sophomore. And I think by the end of this season, he is going to be one of the names in North Georgia, if not the entire state, because of what he's been able to do. 2 back-to-back wins that against pretty good competition, where he put up some really impressive numbers.
Yeah, he did. He got a pretty good backfield as well. A couple of running backs that can really do some damage. We saw Monty Cross really have a great game. His first of what is probably going to be a bunch, 212 rushing yards for North Hall. They had 321 yards on the ground. That's North Hall football right there. But Amani Cross running behind that line. The line's really good. But I guess I wasn't amazed by it, because I saw him do it a little bit last year. But his yards after original contact is just unbelievable.
Yeah, yak, I think they like to say.
I love the yak. Yes.
With the size and speed that Amani has, good luck on getting him down on first contact. Unless he's playing somebody like a Buford, I don't see him ever going down on first contact. It's he's going to be the kind of back that just bounces off guys here or there, and then the next thing you know, he's gone for a big one. And even if he doesn't rip it off, he's still going to fall forward and get 5 yards.
Yeah, exactly. North Hall kind of fell into the trap they did last year, though, where they got down early and had a great comeback. But they got down so big early on, they were down 28-7 at one point, that they didn't quite have enough to come back. So give Asher Orr credit, by the way, a kicker who missed an extra point early in the ballgame, but he comes back and kicks the field goal that puts it away. So 38-28, Jefferson with the win. Very balanced Jefferson team that could really do something this year. Gainesville blows out White County 40-3 is the final in this one. Good bounce-back win for Gainesville. I kind of expected them to probably win this game, play pretty well. That's a pretty big number, 40-3. That's not a bad bounce back.
No, absolutely not. I had wondered myself about this game, just because White County running a option offense, and that can give your defense troubles, even if you've got a good defense, just because it requires such discipline in assignment football. And not that Gainesville is undisciplined, but it really pushes any defense to its limits. Gainesville obviously answered the bell on this one, especially after coming back from a tough opening week against Buford. And I talked to Coach Miller before the game, and he was saying that he really thought that his team was ready for a game like this. I mean, they came back after the Buford game, really focused in practice, weren't dwelling on the loss at all. And that obviously showed on Friday night because they came out on fire.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, another good game for him. 351 total yards, 4 touchdowns. Is Steven Mason kind of his guy in that offense? He had 9 catches, 73 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's Mr. Dependable on that offense. I mean, Keontre Harrison is a super explosive player and a receiver that can make big plays for you. But I think, anytime he's going to, I guess, look for a security blanket, so to speak, that Mason's going to be that guy.
Yeah, and I guess the key to this past Friday was don't score first. If you score first, you're going to lose. That happened in a lot of cases in White County very quickly. 34 unanswered points, though, for the Gainesville Red Elephants. And the Elephants defense did it against White County, 152 total yards in that ball game. So there you go. Commerce with a big bounce-back win as well. It took them a little while to finally get that touchdown they needed, but they beat Franklin County 10-7. So give Commerce a little bit of credit, and congratulations to Marvin Justice. He gets his first win at Commerce.
Yeah, first win as a head coach. He was a defense coordinator there for 5 years, I believe, leading into that. So, Cody Streetman, the quarterback for the Tigers, kind of capped the game. Had a big one, 128 yards on 27 carries and 61 passing. He capped off a 9-play drive to score the winning touchdown there pretty late in the game, and it sounded like just a very solid effort from Commerce, doing what they want to do, which is just pounding the ball and controlling the clock.
And I think that's good coaching too, because it's an offense that obviously didn't get in the end zone before that, and to see them, I guess, I wasn't there, so maybe I'm adding stuff to it, but to be able to be composed to right down the stretch in the fourth quarter, I think it's good coaching and good quarterback play to we haven't had much all game long, but we're going to do it right here, and they went right down the field.
Yeah, absolutely. No panic, no trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just let's do what we do, and we have faith in both our system and our quarterback, and there's a lot, especially at the lower levels, there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, you may only run 4 or 5 plays, but if you can run those plays really well, you don't need to start all of a sudden going out there and flip-flopping and trying to throw audibles and that sort of thing, because that can really screw with kids' minds.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations to Commerce getting that win after their tough loss against Jefferson the week before. Banks County's 2-0. They beat Riverside 41-0. They did all their damage in the first half. It was 41-0 at halftime, and a lot of different kids got into the action for Banks in this one.
Yeah, Banks County, I mean, moving to 2-0 with a new coaching staff and everything, this is going to be huge. Now, granted, they played a couple single-A schools at this point, so I'm sure Coach Phillip Jones isn't going to be sitting over here just saying, we've got a great team at this point. I mean, he knows that it's building towards something, but it's very important to get off on the right foot and kind of build some momentum, especially at this point of the year. And I think that the Leopards certainly have done that. Found a couple of guys in Tyler Hubbard and Dean Ewing that can really run that offense, can get it going on the ground, which is what they want to do. Defensively, they've been pretty strong, and heading into a tougher game this weekend. So I think they're going to be pretty excited and looking forward, hoping to go 3-0. Yeah,
absolutely. One more game to mention: Jackson County falls to Walnut Grove 37-0. I know it's a game Scott McIntyre, our producer, doesn't like to hear, but hey, give Walnut Grove credit, because this is a team that kind of at times looked lost last year, but they go out and get a big time win against Jackson County. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we will preview the games coming up this Friday for week number 3. Also, we're going to have our Gainesville JC's Player of the Week. It's presented by Jacobs Media. You're watching and tuned in to High School Sports Unlimited. We'll be right back.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Ron Wilson. At Wilson Orthodontics, we've helped thousands of people just like you get that perfect, healthy smile they've always dreamed of. And we do that by using state-of-the-art orthodontic technology. Children and adults love our exciting Georgia Bulldogs game room.
Come in and experience the atmosphere.
Our team is the best around, and they treat all our patients like they're part of the family.
They were so nice to me.
Call us today to schedule your free consultation, and I look forward to seeing you here soon.
At Riverside Pharmacy, if you have questions, they have answers. If you don't have time, they won't make you wait. If you need special items, Riverside Pharmacy can order them. They want to be your pharmacy, and that's what sets them apart. Service. And just inside Riverside is the Gift Nook, where you'll find more great service in a new line of beautiful wall plaques and great colorful bags. Shop the Gift Nook in Riverside Pharmacy in the old Sherwin-Williams building on Green Street.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
High School Sports Unlimited rolling on as we get to the previews. But before we get to the previews for this Friday's game, let's get to our Gainesville JC's Player of the Week presented by Jacobs Media. And we're going to head to Lumpkin County. We talked about this kid and what he was able to do. Lumpkin County, a big win over Union County. It's all about Ian McIntosh. 9 rushes, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. He finishes with 256 total yards in the game. Mr. Morgan Lee traveled up to see Ian McIntosh and give him his award.
All right, we're here with Lumpkin County standout Ian McIntosh after his big performance and Friday night's win over Union County. Ian, congratulations first on the win, and just, what was it like? I mean, it seemed like every time you touched the ball, there was a big play.
Just doing what, God gave me, using my talents, just doing what I can, to give my team, a good lead in the game, doing everything for my team. And if it wasn't for my team, my line, or my quarterback, I wouldn't be able to score any of those touchdowns. So, I mean, it's all about a team effort and everything. So,
sure. Coming into this season, y'all knew you had a lot of questions to answer. You knew you were going to be a big part of that. Do you feel like that y'all have kind of answered some of those questions so far this year?
Yes, I think we have, because the first game against Riverside, everybody's talking about, it's just a fluke and everything. But I think the second game against Union County, we came out and we actually proved ourselves to let everybody know that we're just not going to be a nobody team this year. We're actually going to be somebody. We're actually going to do something with our season. So I think we'll do really good this year.
Gotcha. What goes into a game? I mean, was it, when things started going well, was it a question of, did you go back over to the coaches, give me the ball in the same situation because I know I'm going to break it again, or how did that just kind of come into happening?
It just, whatever Coach Stewart, the offensive coordinator, called, basically, he's basically the one that, came with the plays for me to actually score on. So I give that all to him, basically, for calling a good play, and me just, doing what I had to do.
I know that Lumpkin County, as we said, had a good season last year. You're trying to build on that. What do y'all have to do to kind of keep things going this year?
We just got to keep coming out and playing football like we've been doing these past 2 games. Got to keep working hard in practice, busting it, and just leave it all out there on the field.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate it, and congratulations on the win and on your performance.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
He just did some push-ups. Outstanding effort for him, and he's got the winner's smile as well, huh?
He does. He did a great job with that interview. I was impressed. It's the first time I've actually talked to him one-on-one. I've seen him a couple of times on the field, and a serious athlete, very talented. One of those guys that, not only has good top-end speed, he can make people miss. I got to see the highlights of his runs when I was at the coach's office, and the first one, he just made one defender look a fool on the end around because the guy came unblocked and he had to juke him a little bit, and the guy ended up on his backside, and McIntosh just gone.
There you go, Ian McIntosh in the 2-0 Lumpkin County Indians. All right, let's move on. Let's go to some of the previews for this week. North Hall coming off their loss at Jefferson. It's kind of a I won't say a replay of last year, because last year North Hall beat Jefferson, lost to St. Pius, lost to Gainesville. This year they lose to Jefferson at Jefferson. Now they got to go to St. Pius. George B. Maloof Stadium in Atlanta to take on the private school kids, St. Pius. They got a good team. They got a good program in general.
They do. Right now, especially that, I would say the past 6-7 years they've really developed themselves into a year in, year out playoff contender. Geno Smith obviously is the headline name that you're going to hear. A defensive back / running back who can just do a lot of things, and heading to Alabama. North Hall fans can expect to hear that name a lot, I think.
Well, I think that name, and also because I remember I called the game last year, North Hall St. Pius game, and I remember St. Pius's their starting quarterback was injured to start the year, so they bring in this kid named T.J. Holloman, who just ran all over them. And, they had a good offensive line. Holloman's a very special player. That's another one they're going to have to key on because last year he would get that ball in the shotgun, and he would just take off and run between the tackles, and a very good, very, very good athlete. But you know what? North Hall's a well-coached team. Bob Christmas knows what he's doing. The old saying is, your biggest improvements from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah.
I don't think they have to win this game to feel good about themselves. I think that, they would want to stay closer than what happened last year, 49-8 win for St. Pius. But, I don't think they have to absolutely win this game, right?
No, not necessarily. Which I think the main thing you want to see is improvement from week to week, and I'm sure they're going to see that because, like you said, they are a well-coached team. I think that you want to at least give yourself some forward momentum heading into next week's game with Gainesville. I mean, big showdown game. You don't want to enter in there feeling like, we've got more questions than answers at this point, and I'm sure that they're going to find some answers. Certainly, the big answer is Amani Cross. I think he's going to give every defense fits that he sees, and I'm sure St. Pius is even going to, as good as they are, he's going to give them some fits.
And I'm interested to see if Coach Christmas and the guys over there are going to kind of go to one quarterback or two. They kind of shuffled two guys in and out at Jefferson. So North Hall 0-1, St. Pius is 2-0. That game going to be in Atlanta. All right. Elsewhere, East Hall trying to go to 3-0. It's going to take a good effort for them to go to 3-0. They're going to be taking on Elbert County. This is a tough team. This is a team that's tough every single year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Elbert County, one of the kind of traditional powers. I guess they're technically North Georgia.
Yeah.
Elbert County. I'm trying to think of my geography. Anyway, yeah, no, a very good team this year. I mean, I think they were disappointed with last year's playoff finish. But they've got a ton of talent and speed, including Tyshawn Dye, the running back who has got offers from a number of programs already, including Georgia. He's a junior that is just, I mean, he's 6'2", 220 and can fly. It's going to be a real test. I think East Hall, the big thing for them is they've had two nice wins to start the season. Now they go on and face clearly their toughest test. It's going to be interesting to see how they react to that. They've been building some self-belief and some confidence. How do they handle that on the road now against a really good team? Because Brian Gray and all the kids know. I mean, this is going to be a really tough test, and they're not by any means scared. I think of Elbert County, but they know they're going to have to play their best to have a chance in this game. And really, that means that they've got to do it, in all phases of the game. And special teams, I think, could be a big thing because they've had some great special teams here early in the season. And if they're gonna have a chance in this game, that could be a real key.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And Brian Gray's a good coach. I think he's probably talking up this team. In the post game interview this past Friday, he called Elbert the best team in North Georgia other than Buford. So I'm sure that's something he's going to be talking about as the week goes along.
Oh, absolutely. He said that again just a few minutes ago when I talked to him on the phone. So yeah.
He's such a good coach. You see, you over respect the team, man.
Yeah, well, and I'm not sure he isn't over respecting them.
Sure,
I mean, you're talking, Elbert won the region last year, and they've got pretty much everybody back from that team a year older and better. So a very good program, and it's a long road trip, so it'll be interesting to see how East Hall handles that.
Road trip to maybe the coolest name in the entire state as far as stadium's concerned, the Granite Bowl.
Yep.
In Elberton. Have you ever been over there?
No,
I just imagine this they just blasted this hole out of a whole thing of granite.
It probably was. It's one of the few stadiums in this half of the state that I have not seen.
Okay, there you go. Obviously not. You only know where Elbert County is. Jeez, what's wrong? Both teams 2-0 in the season. East Hall coming off that win against Johnson, and Elbert coming off a win against Wesley in 27-10. The final now. And Elbert won this game last year, by the way, 48-13. It was a blowout win, but this is a different East Hall team. All right, West Hall is going to be on the road. They'll be at White County. This is a huge game for both these teams, both coming in 0-2. They really need a win.
Yeah, obviously, no one wants to go to 0-3 early on in the season. At this point, it doesn't, it still doesn't matter in the standings, but it certainly matters upstairs. And you want to get some, as we talked about with North Hall, you want to get some forward momentum. And certainly, I think both of these teams are going to be really desperate to break into the win column.
I'm with you. I mean, I don't think it's a must win, But I think, yeah, you're right. Upstairs between the ears, I think it helps them out a great deal. West Hall lost 41-14 against a Chestatee team that might be ready to play this upcoming year. White County lost 40-3 against a very good Gainesville team. They're going to be playing against White County's going to be playing against another pretty talented quarterback in this one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just Chandler Newton has shown some. Just early in the season, even that he's improved on last year. Obviously it hasn't translated into a victory yet, if I can get that word out.
Yeah.
But I think certainly they've got to be nervous about taking him on up in Cleveland.
We'll be taking another look at some other previews coming up. Flowery Branch going to be in action. Buford, Johnson, and Chestatee. Buford on national TV again, by the way. That's coming up. High School Sports Unlimited. We'll be right back.
Do you have dinner plans? Come and enjoy casual fine dining right here in downtown Gainesville. Scott's on the Square welcomes you for dinner Tuesday through Saturday night. With only fresh, prime cuts of steak and seafood, Scott's on the Square guarantees you'll become a repeat customer. Ask about catering or scheduling your special event at Scott's on the Square, 110 Main Street. Call to make your dinner plans or make your reservations online at scottsonthesquare.com. Casual fine dining at its best is right here in Gainesville.
At the offices of Dr. Norman Peets, DDS on Green Street in Gainesville, patients have all their general dentistry needs explained. Ask about sedation dentistry. Dr. Peets' team of professionals puts you at ease. Dedicated, experienced, professional. He's Gainesville's family dentist. Dr. Norman Peets, 615 Green Street in Gainesville.
I will not march blindly into the fluorescent light of Monday morning to a job I do not love. I will not go with the flow. I am not a carbon copy. I will visit this website before tomorrow because I refuse to work for the weekend, even if everyone is working for the weekend. Today, I will find a job that I love. Today, I will find my career happiness.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Ron Wilson. At Wilson Orthodontics, we've helped thousands of people just like you get that perfect, healthy smile they've always dreamed of. And we do that by using state-of-the-art orthodontic technology. Children and adults love our exciting Georgia Bulldogs game room.
Come in and experience the atmosphere.
Our team is the best around, and they treat all our patients like they're part of the family.
They were so nice to me.
Call us today to schedule your free consultation, and I look forward to seeing you here soon.
All right, here we go. We're wrapping things up. High School Sports Unlimited, another week. Tune into us every Wednesday afternoon on AccessNorthGA.com, on WDUN TV on Access, and also on 1240 ESPN Radio Thursday night, 6 p.m., Fridays at 3 p.m., getting ready for high school football. All right, before we get back to the previews, Morgan, I'm going to ask you 3 true or false questions, buddy. You just tell me true or false and tell me why. You ready?
All right.
East Hall Vikings can win their sub-region in 8AA this year.
True. They've got enough speed. They've got enough athletes. And now they've got the line to back that, and they're starting to believe in themselves. I think absolutely they can win their sub-region.
And Brian Gray's really got them playing some good football and playing some confident football as well. All right, somebody's going to come within 17 points of the Buford Wolves this year. Yes, there's an unknown team for this Friday's action with Yulee, Florida.
Calhoun has moved up into second place in the state rankings.
Oh, have
this
they
week.
really?
Yeah. So
they're
you
always
wonder,
looking up at Buford, aren't
you
they?
wonder if Calhoun will get into the state title game again with them this year.
Yeah.
Gosh. Just after seeing the state title game last year, I'm going to say false.
I don't know, man. I'm going to say true. I don't know. I see maybe in the semifinals or somebody gives them a run, but I don't know. We'll see. And third, Lumpkin County's Ian McIntosh could be this year's Ashley Lowry as far as just the mouth gaped open kind of plays.
True. I think the position that they're putting him in to be able to do the things he's done so far. Last year he was playing receiver almost exclusively. This year he's getting in the backfield a lot more, getting his hands on the ball a lot more. Now it depends obviously on the kind of defenses they're going to be playing and and how they line up and that sort of thing. But I think he's got that, play-making, big, long play busting ability to be that kind of guy.
All right, let's get to some of the games that are going to be coming up this week. Oconee County going to be at Stevens County. Oconee 1-0. Stevens is 1-1. That's another individual effort we got to mention, though, because Chaz Thornton had an outstanding game. 243 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's a pretty special athlete, too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a junior as well, and you can expect more of the same from him this season.
Flowery Branch going to be at Appalachia. Is this the first real test for the Falcons coming into this one? Flowery Branch 2-0 against, they beat Winder Barrow, they beat Madison, but Appalachia's a different kind of team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You expect it to be the first, kind of serious test. Going down to Appalachia, a team that last year missed out on the playoffs, but it's, very used to being in the postseason. They had a crazy game last year where it was just, back and forth. Now, Appalachia doesn't want to play that kind of game with Flowery Branch because that's not what their offense is built for, and you can't game plan for a bunch of big long touchdown runs like they had last year. But I think and Appalachia is 2 weeks removed from their season opening loss, and that hurt where you open the season with a loss and then you go into a bye. So they've had a whole week to stew on that thing. So they're going to be ready and itching to get back at Flowery Branch. So. First big test, I think, for the Falcons.
If you play Flowery Branch, how do you try to go about beating this team? Because they have so many weapons. I mean, you try to pressure the quarterback? I don't even know how you do it because you're right. You can't get in a shootout with this team and expect to win.
Yeah, I think at this point, you just have to – I think you've got to get some pressure on the quarterback. But I think basically you've got to have a great front seven. And just unless you're good enough through your entire 11, if you can put everything in your front seven and just hope that your D-backs can hold on, because with the way that they can run the ball, if your front seven's weak, it doesn't matter how good your DBs are, because Jeremy Haley and Coker himself are both just going to run all over you.
Absolutely, that's exactly what they can do to you. All right, let's next couple of games. The games are going to be on radio this week on AM and on FM. WDUN. First on AM 550, it's going to be Yulee, Florida at Buford. This game originally was supposed to be at Wesley, and they moved it to Buford. It's an ESPN game, and it's an 8:30 start, 8:30 kick for them on Friday night. So this one's going to be at Tom Ryden Stadium. Learn me something about Yulee, Florida. What do you know?
Yulee, Florida. It all starts with Derek Harvey. I mean, the running back is just Derek Henry.
He's going to Georgia. Is that right?
Well, he's committed to Georgia right now, class of 2013. So he's just a junior. But, he's rushed for 5,164 yards and 64 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons.
Wait, say those numbers again, please.
5,164 yards and 64 touchdowns.
64 touchdowns?
Yeah.
As a freshman and sophomore?
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I guess the first game or two for this season as well.
Yeah, so you can bet Buford is going to be keying on Mr. Henry.
But, the thing is, teams come in against Buford, and if you're a one-man show – more times, and I don't know if they're a one-man show necessarily, but those numbers tell you that he gets the ball a ton.
Yeah.
Buford keys on you, and your night is going to be very rough.
It's going to be interesting because they're a very physical two-back kind of offense that likes to run right at you, and that really seems to me like it plays into Buford's hands with the just a very physical front seven on defense. So it'll be interesting to see. I think certainly each week has kind of been a step up in test for Buford, and this may be another one. So. The fact that it's the third, game in a row that's on television for the Wolves and everything, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's very college-like, just, building toward another big weekend.
Well, Buford, they're coming off that win against Carver Columbus 35-7. They beat down the number 2 team in the state. We'll talk about this next week. I think Jess Simpson has a pretty tough job, maybe the rest of the way. I know he's got all the talent, but it's tough to keep high school kids from being on cloud 9, having these big heads, and now after these first 3 massive games, they still got to play the region.
Very succinctly put, because I talked to Coach Simpson just a couple hours ago, and he said the exact same thing, that their toughest jobs are going to be week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just keeping everybody's heads in it and really trying to continue to improve and not sit there and say, well, we've had this great start, so now we can kind of relax a little bit. They've got to keep working and improving.
Yeah, because the teams in the region are kind of going to be they're going to be ready to beat this team that's been on national TV a few times now. All right, over on FM 102.9 WDUN, I'll have this game, by the way. Johnson at Chestatee. You have an 0-2 Johnson team, a 1-0 Chestatee team. The War Eagles are coming off a pretty impressive outing against West Hall. They won 41-14. Johnson's better then I'll give you another true false. Johnson's better than their 0-2 record and their 41-17 loss to East Hall last week.
Definitely true. I think they hung with East Hall for a while, and very big physical team. Got a couple of very good running backs in Harris and Millwood, and they need some breaks to go their way. And if they can get that, I think they're definitely looking at a much better record at this point in the season.
Johnson's they've always, for the last few years under Paul Friel, they've had pretty good size on the line. Have you been able to see them this year? Because you look at Chestatee, they do it different ways, but we mentioned that speed in the backfield, and so trying to run through a line like that could be tough.
Oh yeah, Johnson's still very, very big and physical up front. It's just it's going to be whether they can get them on the corners and slow them down. I mean, first half against East Hall, who's got great speed, they did a good job of that. Second half, they started getting a little wearing down, and we're having a hard time containing East Hall speed. So it'll be interesting to see how that game develops.
Chestatee, this is a different kind of team, though. A little bit, they got a little more speed than what we've seen in past years overall, though.
They do, and that's a big deal. It's nice that you don't have to just depend on 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust, and you can actually rip off a big play every now and then.
Yeah, Stan Luttrell doesn't mind seeing those guys go for 70 yards on one run, does he?
Absolutely not.
No, he does not. All right, other games around the area. Banks County, we mentioned they're 2-0. They beat Riverside 41-0. They're going to be taking on East Jackson. They lost 35-0 to Oconee County last week. So East Jackson is 1-1. It'd be huge for Banks County to be 3-0 to start the year. Right?
Absolutely. I think it'd be a pretty big statement out of them. East Jackson really ripped Banks County last year in this game, 38-0. And if you could turn around and win this season, even though, like I said, it's another game that doesn't really mean anything in the standings, I think it would make a nice statement for what you're going to have the rest of the year, and to be 3-0 with the new coaching staff. That'd be pretty impressive.
Tonight, Friday night, 7:30 kick at Raiders Stadium in Mount Airy. Habersham Central returns home after that rough game in Athens. They're going to be taking on Salem. Both teams coming in 1-1 overall and 1-1 in their region as well. But it's a tough situation. What happened to Habersham County last week? It's going to be tough for them to bounce back. I mean, I think they can do it most definitely. I mean, I guess it just comes down to the first couple of quarters and trying to close it out then at the end.
Well, that's the trick. I mean, they've
they won the first 3 quarters of that game against Cedar Shoals.
Yeah, absolutely. They've it's going to be a tough place to be psychologically, because you don't want to find yourself in a position where you get up big again and all of a sudden something happens for Salem and you find yourself going, uh-oh, here we go again. So it's a tough place, and this is where coaches really earn their keep, so to speak, is getting their kids in the right place psychologically. I think Habersham's certainly capable of bouncing back. I mean, with Ellison at quarterback, I mean, I look for him to have another big game, and he has got to be. I mean, I was talking with their stat guy David Foster last week, and he is really close to breaking that school record for rushing, and he could well do it this game.
And he's done it in massive chunks too.
Yeah.
So it's not like anybody's shutting him down. So watch out for Ellison. They'll be at home. Hab Central will be at home against Salem. Jefferson hits the road for the first time. Their first 2 games were at home. They beat Commerce. They beat North Hall last week. So Jefferson 2-0. They're going to be taking on Dawson County, who lost in overtime. 26-20 against Gilmer. But again, this Jefferson offense is a very difficult one to stop. They got to go on the road, and Dawson County has their hands full.
Yeah, they do. Dawson County, though, had a nice start, and I mean, going to overtime against a AAA team that went to the playoffs last year, nothing to sniff at. So this could be a really interesting game. If it's one of those, I wish I had time to go everywhere. This would definitely be on my list, just because I'd like to see both teams. Dawson County's got a pretty nice offense, and we've talked about Jefferson. It's 2 pretty good quarterbacks in this game. Again, one that I'd like to see. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, there you go. Once again, the radio games. Buford going to be at home against Yulee, Florida. 8 o'clock pregame, 8:30 kickoff, and then Johnson going to be at Chestatee. 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 kickoff. Morgan, appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.
All righty. And our thanks to Scott McIntyre as well. We'll be back Wednesday afternoon on AccessNorthGA.com. High School Sports Unlimited. And you can check us out on Thursdays and Fridays on 1240 ESPN Radio. Enjoy your game. See you next week.